All right, if you're a business leader, you already know AI isn't some what if fantasy anymore. It's a what now reality. But with all the options out there, how do you possibly choose? It can feel overwhelming. So that's what we're going to do today. We're cutting right through all that noise with a clear framework to help you make the right call for your business. And that right there is the big problem, isn't it? It feels like every single day there's a new AI model that promises to be faster, smarter, or cheaper. And if you pick the wrong one, wow, you're talking about wasted money, terrible results, or even worse, putting your company's most sensitive data at risk. The stakes are just incredibly high. Okay, so how do we navigate this thing? How do we find our way out of the maze? Well, we're going to break it down using a really simple but powerful framework. We'll focus on three key pillars. First, the performance puzzle. Then we'll get into the true cost of AI. And finally, we'll tackle the price of privacy. And by the time we're done, you'll have a clear picture of how to build an AI strategy that's actually a perfect fit for you. All right, let's step into this AI decision maze. Now look, the goal here isn't to give you the single best AI. That doesn't exist. The goal is to give you the right questions to ask so you can find the best AI for you. This whole framework is about bringing clarity to a really complex choice. Okay, first pillar, the performance puzzle. There's this idea, this assumption that if you want the absolute best performance, you've got to pay up for the big proprietary names. But is that really still true? Let's put that idea to the test with a task that businesses face every single day. Okay, so let's take a really common business task. It's called machine reading comprehension. It sounds fancy, but it's super simple. Basically, it's asking, can an AI read something unstructured, like this email, and pull out the important bits of structured information? Like the client's name and the exact date for their reservation. This is something that businesses need to automate thousands of times a day. So we ran a test on a big name proprietary model, GPT 3.5. We wanted to see how accurate it was. We used something called an exact match score. Basically, did it nail the answer perfectly? And it did pretty well. It scored 83%. So that's our baseline, right? A powerful, well-known model that you have to pay for. Okay, but now, this is where it gets really interesting. We ran the exact same test on a free, totally open source model. And its score? You guessed it. Exactly the same. 83%. Just let that sink in for a second. The same performance as a major paid model for free. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that the game has totally changed. You can't just assume that paying more money automatically gets you better performance. It's not true anymore. High-quality, open-source models are serious contenders now, and that opens up a whole world of strategic options. Performance is basically being democratized. All right, so we've established that free models can hang with the big dogs on performance. That leads us right into pillar 2, the true cost of AI. Because, let's be real, performance is only one piece of the puzzle. We have to talk about the total cost, and it's way more than just the price tag on a model. First up, you've got the software itself, the platform you use. And yeah, the price can be all over the map. You've got free versions that are awesome for just trying things out, all the way up to these massive enterprise subscriptions that can cost a small fortune. But honestly, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The real monster of a cost decision is where all this stuff actually runs. Are you going to rent your computing power from a cloud provider? Or are you going to buy your own hardware, your own on-premise servers, like this beast right here? This choice, it has huge financial consequences. And this right here breaks down that fundamental trade-off perfectly. On-premise, that's what we call a capital expense, or CapEx. You pay a lot of money upfront for the hardware, but after that, your costs are pretty predictable, and often they're lower in the long run. The cloud, on the other hand, is an operational expense, OpEx. No big initial investment, which is great, but you're paying as you go. And believe me, those bills can climb and climb as you use it more. Which brings us to a really critical idea you have to understand, the break-even point. This is that magic moment in time when owning your own stuff, the server, the electricity to run it, actually becomes cheaper than if you had just kept paying the monthly cloud bill. So what is it? When do you hit that point? Well, for a powerful server like the one we just saw, running 24/7, you hit that break-even point in about 12 months, just 1 year. After a single year of heavy use, owning your own hardware could actually start saving you money. All right, on to our final pillar. And this is one that honestly gets overlooked way too often, but it can have the highest price of all: the price of privacy. You really have to ask yourself, what is happening to the sensitive, confidential data that you're feeding into these AI models? Let's put this in perspective for a second. Think about what you might type into an AI prompt. Strategic plans, customer data, financial projections. I mean, as this legal analysis points out, if you were sharing this kind of info with any other company, you would absolutely, without question, make them sign an NDA. We need to have that exact same mindset with our AI tools. So when you're using a third-party AI, you're opening yourself up to 4 major risks. First, data retention. Where is your data going? How long are they keeping it? Second, model training. Are they using your secret sauce to train their model and then helping your competitors? Third, data breaches. These platforms are huge targets for hackers. And finally, compliance. Are you accidentally breaking privacy laws like GDPR or HIPAA? So what can you do? How do you protect yourself? Well, you need to build a defense in layers. You need technical controls like encryption. You need policy controls, clear rules for your employees. You need strong legal controls baked into your contracts, and honestly, just good old-fashioned best practices, like just think for a second before you paste your most sensitive data into a public tool. Okay, we've gone through the 3 pillars: performance, cost, and risk. So now let's put it all together and see how you can use these ideas to build a real AI strategy that actually makes sense for your business. Just look at how this plays out in the real world for different kinds of companies. You've got an early stage startup, their number one priority, low cost. So of course they're going to go for open source models on a pay-as-you-go cloud. Then you've got a mid-sized retailer. They need high performance analytics to stay competitive, so they might pay for a powerful specialized tool. But then look at a healthcare provider. For them, risk is everything. So they're going to demand ironclad enterprise contracts, or maybe even bring everything on premise to keep that patient data locked down tight. See? 3 totally different priorities leading to 3 totally different but equally valid strategies. And that really brings us to the final, most important question, the one you need to take back to your team. Look, you're always going to be making a trade-off between performance, cost, and risk. You can't have perfect marks on all 3. It's just not possible. So you have to decide. What is your non-negotiable? Is it performance? Is it cost? Or is it risk? Answering that question, well, that's the first and most important step to choosing the right AI for you.